This is a new grouping that we have to work together. With BRICS, yes, why not? I mean, the Global South have to take a stand because the international financial infrastructure through the IMF needs to reform. United Nations need to reform. We talk about democracy, but we refuse to accept democratic principles and democratic accountability. WTA need to make some adjustments. And that's all they were asking for. We're not going to war. We still work under the present mechanisms. So that's why, to me, BRICS is important. At least there's a mechanism. We talk. Not a zero-sum game. Malaysia is a trading nation. We survive, we manage as a trading nation. And to be as friendly as possible with everyone, but we take our position on issue human rights, on issue of justice, or issues humanity.
I agree. That makes you very special, Prime Minister. Now I come back to ASEAN, and it's the vision of ASEAN 2045. And my question is, do you want to become a group similar to the European Union, with a common currency, with an internal market? What could you enlighten us how you would see ASEAN in 20 years from now?
You know, ASEAN leaders are here, so I'm going to be careful. But what consensus have we reached? We have been successful in the past on geopolitical, diplomatic, but we realize in my exchanges with all prime ministers and presidents of ASEAN, look, we have to enhance, what does the Americans say, enhance, the pronunciation is an issue, intra-ASEAN trade.
Yeah.
And work together to complement one another. So that is comparative advantage. So the economic fundamentals in terms of trade, investment, to me is important, and the way we negotiate with other countries or regions. But whether we want to then emerge to become like EU is something that we have not explored. Our advantage is to study EU, the successes and the limitations, and we are not too concerned about the political setup. We are more concerned about the economic collaboration. Yeah. From my understanding, talking to, you know, Bombo Marcos, to Prabowo, to Pongkenton, or to Thailand, and my other neighbors, Lawrence, Tuan Sultan Brunei, who is most senior, our main interest is to focus on the economic fundamentals. Whatever it takes, digitalization, AI, and energy transition, investments, trade. I mean, that has been the
different political systems in the ASEAN countries. Let me maybe conclude this conversation with a question. You have such an experience, and you are admired for what you are doing. What would you wish a political leader? What would be the main characteristics of a political leader today, in today's world, which is fast moving? What do you feel? What makes a successful political leader today?
I have not been successful in the past. I've spent more time in jail than outside. So, but in the last 2 years, of course, I've been given the mandate. I think the issue of governance, democratic accountability is important. Leadership, to me, must set that example. Yeah. Because countries are destroyed because of arrogance, because of corruption, and that is why what I intend to do in Malaysia is first to correct the issue of governance. We inherit some issues, some scandals of the past. So we have to be very rigid on that, which is challenging, particularly when the corruption is deemed to be systemic. So tender process must be transparent, and an effective anti-corruption commission with adequate legislation and adequate powers. And I think that should be a start. But the humility of leadership, because political leaders, by the way we have been given all the praises, tend to forget that this is a learning curve. And the humility to acknowledge that we have limitations. What do I know about AI? Unless I'm prepared to listen to the experts. But what is fundamental to my mind, which I will never compromise, is the value, dignity of men and women. Because I experience what unfreedom is, of torture in prison or in the lockup. So I think no one should be and deserves to be treated in that manner. And this, if you talk about dignity of men and women, then their opportunities, their education, their health, their welfare must be given adequate protection. So these gross inequalities, to me, the unbridled capitalism must come to an end as far as Malaysia is concerned. Of course, it's generally capitalistic in the system, but then there must not be this issue of oligarchy and cronyism that would destroy the basic fundamentals, what we mean by freedom and democratic accountability.
Yeah. That's, Prime Minister, that's why I personally prefer to talk about entrepreneurialism and not capitalism. I think
yes.
entrepreneurs, and I usually would define it as stakeholder entrepreneurialism, which means the World Economic Forum coined a motto, I think 40 years ago, shortly after I had created the organization, which is entrepreneurialism in the global public interest, which means prosperity is driven by entrepreneurs, and you need this innovative force of business and industry, but ultimately it always has to serve the global society. And on this note, I want to thank you for making yourself available for this discussion. I'm looking very much forward to continued success, and I'm looking very much forward to seeing you, hopefully, when you conduct, I think you have 2 summits, one in May and one in October. And we wish you, on behalf of everybody here, we wish you all the best. Thank you very much.